We often believe that transforming our lives requires monumental effort, years of struggle, relentless discipline, or some grand elusive opportunity. But what if real change could begin in just 15 minutes? Not a superficial shift, but a fundamental redirection of your habits, mindset, and future. The truth is, the smallest actions, when deliberate and consistent, compound into extraordinary results. Think about it. 15 minutes a day spent learning a skill makes you proficient in a year. 15 minutes of focused planning each morning can eliminate chaos and procrastination. 15 minutes of reflection at night can sharpen your self-awareness and purpose. Time is not your enemy. Wasted time is. The difference between who you are today and who you could be lies in how you use these fleeting moments. This speech isn't about quick fixes or empty motivation. It's about leveraging the power of micro actions to build discipline, clarity, and resilience. Whether it's mastering your thoughts, refining your daily routine, or confronting what holds you back, the next 15 minutes could be the catalyst for the life you've been waiting for. Let's begin. Take radical responsibility. Your life improves only when you stop blaming external forces and take ownership of your choices. Every decision, no matter how small, shapes your future. Master your daily routine. The first 15 minutes of your day set the tone for everything else. Use them to focus, plan, and align your actions with your long-term goals. Confront what you avoid. Procrastination feeds fear. Spend 15 minutes tackling the task you've been avoiding, whether it's a difficult conversation, a personal flaw, or a professional challenge. Invest in deep learning knowledge compounds. Dedicate 15 minutes daily to reading, refining a skill, or studying something meaningful. In a year, you'll be unrecognizably more capable. Reflect and adjust. We live in a world that glorifies overnight success and instant transformation. But the reality is far more profound. Lasting change doesn't happen in a single dramatic moment. It happens in the quiet, consistent choices we make every day. And the most powerful part? You don't need hours of effort to begin. Just 15 minutes. Think about the last time you felt stuck, trapped in procrastination, self-doubt, or a cycle of unproductive habits. What if, instead of waiting for motivation or the perfect time, you took just 15 minutes to shift your trajectory? Small, intentional actions compound over time. 15 minutes of focused reading each day makes you smarter than 99% of people. 15 minutes of deliberate practice turns amateurs into experts. 15 minutes of honest self-reflection prevents years of wasted effort. This isn't about shortcuts or empty inspiration. This is about leverage, using the smallest units of time to create the greatest impact. Because the truth is, your life isn't shaped by grand, sweeping gestures, but by what you do in the moments others ignore. The next 15 minutes could be the turning point you've been waiting for. 5 keynotes to transform your life in 15 minutes a day. 1. Control your morning. Control your life. The first 15 minutes after you wake up determine the rest of your day. Most people waste them scrolling, reacting, and letting the world dictate their mindset. Instead, use this time to set intention. Write down your top 3 priorities. Visualize success. Move your body to energize your mind. If you win the morning, you win the day. 2. The 15-minute rule for procrastination. The biggest obstacles in life aren't lack of time or talent, they're avoidance and fear. The solution? Commit to just 15 minutes on the task you've been dreading. Starting is the hardest part, but momentum builds fast. Often, you'll find yourself working far longer once you begin. If not, at least you've moved forward. 3. Learn like your future depends on it, because it does. Most people stop learning after formal education, guaranteeing stagnation. Dedicate 15 minutes a day to deep learning, reading, studying a skill, or analyzing great thinkers. In a year, you'll have spent over 90 hours growing while others stayed the same. Knowledge is the ultimate leverage. 4. The power of brutal honesty with yourself at the end of each day. Ask yourself, what did I do well? Where did I fail? What's one thing I can improve tomorrow? Just 15 minutes of honest self-assessment prevents years of repeating the same mistakes. 5. The compound effect of small win success isn't about giant leaps. It's about daily micro-victories. 15 minutes of exercise adds up to a stronger body. 15 minutes of networking builds a powerful career. 15 minutes of gratitude rewires your brain for happiness. Small disciplines repeated daily lead to extraordinary results. You don't need more time, you need better focus. Starting today, choose one of these 15-minute habits and commit to it for a week. Then add another. Track the difference. Because the life you want isn't built in a day, it's built 15 minutes at a time. The clock is ticking. What will you do with your next 15 minutes? End each day with 15 minutes of honest self-assessment. What worked? What didn't? Small, deliberate corrections prevent years of wandering off course. Control your morning, control your life. The first moments after waking are sacred ground. A psychological battleground where your day is won or lost before it even begins. Most people surrender this time unconsciously, immediately reaching for their phones, flooding their minds with distractions, notifications, and other people's agendas before they've had a chance to establish their own. This is how days slip into reactivity rather than purpose. But there's another way. When you dedicate just 15 intentional minutes each morning to setting the tone for your day, you create a ripple effect of discipline that compounds over weeks, months, and ultimately, your entire life. Your entire life. Start by eliminating all external input for those first 15 minutes. No emails, no news, no social media. Instead, engage in a brief but powerful sequence of mental and physical priming. First, hydrate. Your brain and body have been fasting for hours, and water kickstarts cognitive function. Next, move. Whether it's stretching, a short walk, or a few minutes of calisthenics, physical motion signals to your nervous system that you're awake and in command. Then clarify your intentions. Verdict. Write down the 3 most important tasks for the day. Not an overwhelming to-do list, but the critical priorities that will move you forward. Visualize yourself completing them with focus and excellence. This ritual accomplishes something profound. It shifts you from a passive consumer of whatever the world throws at you to an active architect of your day. The science behind this is clear. Morning routines reduce decision fatigue, increase willpower reserves, and create a sense of agency that carries through every subsequent hour. Over time, these daily 15-minute investments transform not just your productivity, but your identity. You become someone who takes charge rather than someone who reacts. And that shift, from passive to active, from chaotic to deliberate, is the foundation upon which extraordinary lives are built. The 15-minute rule for procrastination isn't a time management problem. It's an emotional avoidance problem. We delay tasks not because we lack the hours, but because we dread the discomfort of starting. The anticipation is almost always worse than the doing. This is where the 15-minute rule becomes revolutionary. By committing to work on a dreaded task for just 15 minutes, you bypass the resistance of your primitive brain, which recoils at large, undefined commitments. 15 minutes feels manageable. It's not a marathon. It's a single lap around the track. This strategy leverages 2 psychological truths. First, action precedes motivation, not the other way around. Waiting to feel like it is a trap. Starting creates the motivation to continue. Second, small wins build confidence. Each 15-minute session proves to yourself that the task isn't as monstrous as your avoidance made it seem. Applied consistently, this approach doesn't just help you complete tasks. It rewires your relationship with discomfort itself. You train your mind to associate challenge with progress rather than pain. Over time, what once seemed impossible becomes habitual. Learn like your future depends on it, because it does. In an era of endless distraction, the ability to focus on deep learning for even 15 minutes a day becomes a superpower. While most people fritter away their spare moments on trivial content, you can compound knowledge with shocking efficiency by dedicating a daily quarter hour to intentional study. Choose a subject that aligns with your goals. A professional skill, a language, financial literacy, philosophy, and engage with it systematically. Read a few pages of a substantive book. Watch a lecture at 1.5x speed. Practice a skill deliberately. The key is consistency in depth, not duration. Consider the math. 15 minutes daily equals 91 hours a year. That's enough to read dozens of books, gain conversational fluency in a language, or master the fundamentals of a new discipline. Meanwhile, the average person spends that same time mindlessly scrolling. This daily investment does more than accumulate knowledge. It sharpens your ability to think critically, solve problems creatively, and articulate ideas persuasively. In a world where most people's minds are cluttered with reactive thoughts and superficial information, your 15-minute habit becomes intellectual leverage. Moreover, this practice combats the stagnation that plagues adult life. The brain thrives on challenge and novelty. Yes, when you stop learning, you stop growing, not just intellectually, but in your capacity to adapt to life's inevitable changes. Those 15 minutes become both armor against obsolescence and fuel for reinvention. Whether you're 20 or 60, this habit ensures you're always evolving rather than decaying. Knowledge compounds like interest. The earlier and more consistently you invest, the greater the returns. The power of brutal honesty with yourself at day's end when distractions fade, you have a golden opportunity for the most transformative 15 minutes of all. Unflinching self-assessment. This isn't about guilt or self-punishment. It's about clear-eyed evaluation. Ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What's one specific improvement I can make tomorrow? Then write the answers. This practice accomplishes what most people go a lifetime avoiding. It forces you to confront the gap between your aspirations and your actions. Most failures aren't from lack of intention, but from lack of iteration. Without reflection, we repeat mistakes indefinitely. Those 15 minutes of nightly honesty create a feedback loop where you're constantly adjusting course. Sirs, maybe you notice you're most productive before lunch, so you restructure your schedule accordingly. Perhaps you see a pattern of avoiding difficult conversations, so you commit to initiating one tomorrow. This isn't navel-gazing, it's strategic self-correction. The most successful people aren't those who never fail. They're those who fail, learn, and adapt fastest. Your 15-minute review accelerates that process. Over time, this habit does something remarkable. It aligns your daily actions with your long-term purpose. Small course corrections made consistently prevent years of drifting in the wrong direction. And perhaps most importantly, it cultivates the rarest of qualities in adulthood: genuine self-awareness. In a world full of people blaming circumstances, you become someone who takes responsibility, and that changes everything. With the compound effect of small wins, success isn't about sporadic heroics. It's about daily, micro-victories that accumulate exponentially. 15 minutes of exercise daily leads to a transformed physique over a year. 15 minutes of financial review each week prevents catastrophic money mistakes. 15 minutes of gratitude journaling rewires your brain for resilience and contentment. These small disciplines share a common trait. They leverage the compound effect, where small, consistent actions lead to disproportionate results over time. The magic lies in consistency, not intensity. Anyone can work out intensely for 2 hours, once. But 15 minutes daily creates lasting change because it's sustainable. The same applies to relationships. A short, meaningful conversation daily beats annual grand gestures. Skill building, daily practice beats cramming. And mental health, brief mindfulness beats occasional therapy marathons. This approach also bypasses perfectionism. When the bar is just 15 minutes, you eliminate excuses. Ultimately, this philosophy changes how you measure progress. Instead of waiting for some distant finish line, you find satisfaction in the daily act of showing up. Each small win reinforces your identity as someone who keeps promises to yourself. And that's where real power lies, not in dramatic transformations, but in becoming someone whose daily habits guarantee success is inevitable rather than elusive. The 15-minute principle proves a profound truth. You don't need more time. You just need to stop wasting the minutes you already have. Conclusion: the power of your next 15 minutes time is the great equalizer. Everyone gets the same 24 hours, but how you use them determines the life you create. The secret isn't finding more time. It's making the minutes count. 15 minutes may seem insignificant, but when used with intention, they become the building blocks of transformation. Whether it's mastering your mornings, conquering procrastination, deepening your knowledge, refining your self-awareness, or stacking small wins, these micro-actions compound into extraordinary results. The difference between who you are today and who you could be a year from now lies in what you do with these fleeting moments. Will you let them slip away? Or will you seize them? The choice is yours, and it starts with your next 15 minutes. Don't wait for motivation, perfect conditions, or some distant future. Start now, because the life you want isn't built in a day. It's built 15 minutes at a time. The clock is ticking. What will you do with yours?